All right, let's take a look at lesson number 3 in adding color to your solos. So the first lesson, we stacked notes of the F chord on top of a G. The second lesson, we stacked notes of the B flat on top of a G. That was a bluesy sound. And now we're going to be stacking notes of the D flat chord on top of a G. So we're really going to be inviting some outside sounds. It creates some really great tension. This is the one that I almost like the most out of all these, but they all are very unique and cool. Let's analyze what notes we have within what we're stacking on top of it. So we have our G, and then we have our D flat chord. Creates a real ethereal sound. But we're going to have a flat 9 note. We've got a flat 5 note. And then we've got an F note, so a flat 7. So let's go through the exercise chord by chord. And we're going to be using a new roll for this. This is the Shelton roll. It sounds like this. When you're doing this exercise, I recommend a roll that highlights one half a measure of a chord and then highlights the other chord on the second half of the measure. So 4 notes per chord. It really just highlights the tones really well. I wouldn't want to use like the Foggy Mountain roll on this, unless I was only focusing on 2 fingers, but we're focusing on sweeping across 3 strings, and this roll does that very well. So the Shelton roll goes like this. Index on the first string, thumb on the third, index on the second, middle on the first, index on the first, thumb on the third, index on the second, and middle on the first. So let's walk through each chord shape that I'm doing. I'm starting this just like the other ones on the open G. Second half goes to our first inversion of a D flat. And that's just like the D shape, just a half step down. That's all that is. And then jumping into our F shape G. Then our bar D flat at the 6th fret. And then jump right into our D shape G. Then we're going to our F shape D flat. Pinky at the 11th fret. Bar G. And we're right back to our next D flat. That's the high octave of where we started. Pinky at the 15th fret, then F shape D, or G, bar D flat, and then our highest G again. So quite a brain workout, because now again you're having to stack notes of the D flat chord on top of the G. You're having to keep track of 2 separate chord inversions here. So let's take a look at the licks we're going to use with this. All right, here's our first 2-measure G to C lick. So we're starting this on our D shape G. we jump into our F-shaped D flat, pinky at the 11th fret, bar G, 12th fret, then our D-shaped D flat, pinky at the 15th fret, then a half step down. So each one of these transitions into the 4 chord in an interesting, cool way. So it's got a cool effect for the ear. This, we just go from a D flat, a half step down, and we're right on our C chord. So it's got a cool, kind of an exotic harmonic sound. And each of these flat chords has its own little character. The B flat's real bluesy. The F kind of has the 7th, almost a jazzy sound with the 9 note and the 11 note and the flat 7 note. And then this one has a little bit more of an outside sound. So again, just if you want to try to, the idea is to create your own licks. Practice this all up and down until you really get those transitions down really well. And then start creating your own licks, 2 or 4 measure G to C licks. And again, on the tablature, it's going to be saying G, D flat, G, D flat. That's just labeling what the chords are that I'm playing. All of these licks are just on G to a C because that's the effect. You're superimposing outside notes over the G to create this effect. So here's another way you could create a 2-measure G to C lick. I'm going to start on the high F-shaped G and then go descending into a C. So there, I just started there on the high F-shaped G, descended down to my D-shaped D flat, pinky at the 15th, jumped on my index bar, jumped into my F-shaped D flat, pinky on the 11th, and then half step down, right into the C chord. I'm just making these up as I go, so they're not going to be the same twice. So, but anyway, just be adventurous about it, and you'll know what you like to hear. If this is too out there for you, then you would never have to use this. You could use ones that you like, but it's just options to try. And I really like the kind of outside sounds because it creates a little bit of harmonic tension and release, and it's a cool effect, and it's kind of a head turner. People are like, what did he just do there? So it's kind of fun. Anyway, work on this real hard. Work on all 3 of those different inversions, the F, B flat, and the D flat, and I think it's going to open up some cool doors for you. So anyway, enjoy, and we'll see you on the next lesson.